Yo, bro, don't drop the low. Don't drop the low. Come on, yo. You know how 4K Trey give it up. Yo, bro, don't drop the low. 4K Trey's on a different type of timing, bro.
Hey, dude, come to Hawaii.
Oh, no. Don't say that.
NBA YoungBoy just activated his 4KT crew after NBA star Dejounte Murray's dad allegedly thought it was cool to play with his name. And the reason this spiraled? Yeah, it's deeper than people expected. This isn't just some petty back and forth on social media. The whole internet is tense right now. Every post, every move, folks are watching like it's a live-action drama unfolding in real time. Here's how it started. NBA YoungBoy, also known as YoungBoy Never Broke Again, jumped on Twitter and started firing off messages that had fans genuinely worried and critics running their mouths. Social media went into overdrive, accusing him of crashing out over an old head who disrespected him. But let's slow that down. This isn't your average Twitter beef. We're talking about YoungBoy, a rapper known for having a fiercely loyal circle that moves when he moves. And history shows that when he starts feeling a certain way, situations can flip fast. Earlier this month, he got on Twitter and let everything spill. No filter, no PR polish, just raw emotion. He tweeted things like, "I'm scared to go to sleep. I'm lonely. I ain't enough. I'm not healthy." That had fans asking, is he okay? Then he pivoted to his baby mamas, posting, "To my baby mama, this prostituting industry, I don't trust you either." No sugarcoating, no soft landing. He was airing it all out in front of millions. He followed that with something even more emotional. "I love the shit out y'all. I'll be back next time." That line, it made people nervous. Then he dropped another heavy one. "Money and opportunity showed me some of the weakest people. I'll be the bad guy every day, because every time you do some weak stuff, I'm in a flash." That didn't sound like someone playing nice anymore. That sounded like someone done tolerating disrespect. He kept going. "You gotta keep the right people around. I don't have no manager. And if somebody says I ain't enough, I'm not healthy. That's fine. I'm standing tall. Don't forget it." That felt like a man battling his demons while still trying to remind everybody he's solid. Then it got darker. "I'm scared to go to sleep. I'm lonely. I come from that." That hit different, like he was reliving the trauma that shaped him. And fans know, when YoungBoy starts venting like this, it's rarely just random emotion. It's usually the calm before something bigger. With him, feelings can turn explosive in a heartbeat. Now let's be real. When someone with his level of money, influence, and die-hard supporters starts spiraling publicly, people pay attention, because emotion plus power can escalate quickly. But there's another layer to this. YoungBoy has a complicated personal life, with over a dozen children and multiple mothers involved. When he vents online, nobody's ever 100% sure who he's addressing. That mystery keeps the internet guessing every single time. He treats Twitter like a diary. When life stresses him out, he doesn't bottle it up, he posts it. He doesn't care if he looks vulnerable, he'd rather be honest than quiet. But here's where things get risky, when those feelings start affecting real-world relationships. Now let's talk about the woman many believe sits at the center of this emotional storm, Jania Meshell. She wasn't just another baby mama, she was the first love, the ride or die, the one who was around before the platinum plaques, before the headline tours, before the millions. Their story traces back to Baton Rouge, two teenagers trying to escape their environment and build something bigger. And their relationship, it was intense, passionate, toxic at times, unpredictable.
They'd break up, get back together, argue publicly, then fall right back into each other. It was a cycle that lasted for years. Even when other women were in the picture, Jania always seemed closest to his heart. That kind of connection doesn't fade easily, and it can make everything more explosive. But let's be clear, it wasn't all fairy tale moments and love songs. Now, let's get into the part people don't like to talk about. YoungBoy's history with Jania Meshell had some very dark moments. There were multiple incidents where things allegedly turned physical, and the streets have been whispering about it for years. It wasn't just physical either, it was emotional chaos. YoungBoy would disappear for weeks, pop back up with new women, even have children with them, then circle right back to Jania like nothing happened. And almost every time, she'd take him. Why? because she believed he'd change. That cycle dragged on for years. Promises, breakups, makeups, tears, repeat. He'd swear he was doing better. For a little while, things would look calm, until they weren't. Jania was stuck on that emotional roller coaster, loving him, raising their child, hoping the version of him she first fell for would finally grow up. But even the most loyal woman has a limit, and Jania eventually reached hers. The final straw reportedly came when YoungBoy allegedly put his hands on her in front of their kids. That was it. No more chances. She packed her things, grabbed her child, and walked away for good.
Imagine that moment. After years of cheating rumors, drama, heartbreak, she finally said, "I'm done." That takes courage, especially when you're leaving someone with the kind of influence and reach YoungBoy has. And here's the twist. She didn't disappear quietly. She leveled up. Jania started dating NBA star Dejounte Murray. And this isn't just some bench warmer. We're talking max contracts, real money, real status. By all appearances, he treats her well. Where YoungBoy's world felt chaotic, Murray's seemed structured, focused, calm. He's flying her out, taking vacations, gifting her luxury surprises, and reportedly embracing her child like his own. From the outside looking in, it's the kind of stability Jania had been searching for. Now imagine how that lands with YoungBoy, your first love, the mother of your child, now glowing differently with the man who represents everything you're not: successful, disciplined, respected. That kind of glow-up can bruise anybody's ego, especially when it's someone you thought would always stay. But this isn't just jealousy, it's deeper than that. In YoungBoy's world, Dejounte Murray symbolizes the alternate timeline, the version of life that could have existed without legal battles, rap beefs, and non-stop drama. While YoungBoy was fighting cases and clashing with rivals, Murray was grinding in the league, building stability, becoming the kind of man who could offer peace. So when YoungBoy jumped on Twitter, venting about baby mamas and emotional pain, things were already sensitive. Then Dejounte Murray's father stepped into the picture, and this is where the temperature rose. Murray's dad decided to post what looked like advice, publicly, on the internet. He wrote something along the lines of, "This proves money doesn't make you happy for long. You got to attach yourself to outdoor activities." On paper, harmless, but timing is everything. Because offering life advice to someone like YoungBoy while he's clearly emotional can easily be interpreted the wrong way. Murray's father didn't stop there. He added more. "Enjoy life. I hardly ever see this man post positive thoughts. Hopefully he can find a good therapist, because growing up in the hood will have you viewing every situation on a toxic level. Pick your battles, young man." Again, if you read it calmly, it sounds like an older man trying to guide a younger one. Nothing aggressive, nothing threatening. But in the middle of tension, that hits different. To YoungBoy, this likely didn't feel like wisdom. It felt like disrespect. Because this wasn't some random commenter. This was the father of the man now dating his ex. This wasn't just some random commenter. This was the father of the man now dating YoungBoy's first love and helping raise his child. From YoungBoy's perspective, that probably felt like the opposing team stepping out the stands to take a shot at him while he was already vulnerable. And if there's one thing about NBA YoungBoy, it's that pride and reputation mean everything. So when Dejounte Murray's dad spoke up, it didn't sound like gentle guidance to YoungBoy. It sounded slick, like subtle shade wrapped in OG advice, almost like he was poking the bear just to see what would happen. And that's where it escalated. Because think about it, your ex is glowing, living comfortably with Dejounte Murray, and now his father publicly says you need therapy and should pick your battles. On the surface, that's calm advice, but in street language, that translates differently. It can come off like you're unstable, you're broken, and saying that where the whole world can see it, that's a direct hit to someone who moves off pride. Once that line got crossed, YoungBoy didn't hold back. He jumped online and fired off a response that immediately shook the timeline. He wrote, "But you, Pops, you'll get slapped to fuck. Let me fight with my hoe, bro. I'm not even talking about that one, fool."
Then followed up with, "Don't bother me, bro. Now you gonna start some." That wasn't light talk. That was a warning. When he said, "You'll get slapped," fans understood the tone. Whether literal or not, the energy was clear. Don't push me. Then he doubled down. "Old man, you unexpected old ass." Straight disrespect, no filter. At that point, it was obvious he wasn't in reflective mode anymore. He was in full defense mode. And when YoungBoy's name gets tied to a 4KT, people pay attention. 4KT, short for 4Trey, isn't just branding. It's the movement attached to him, his circle, his loyalty base, the ones who ride for him heavy. To outsiders, it's a label. To supporters, it's family. The reason that name carries weight is because loyalty around YoungBoy has always been intense. The people in his camp aren't random associates, they're long-time ties. And when he feels disrespected, they feel it too. That's why when tensions rise, the internet starts whispering about escalation, because with someone who has influence, reach, and a devoted following, words can travel fast, and situations can spiral quicker than expected. Now here's where it gets interesting.
After YoungBoy's response went viral, Dejounte Murray's father seemed to realize the temperature had shifted. He hopped online again, this time posting a video to clear things up. He said he had no beef with YoungBoy and that he was simply speaking from an older man's perspective. Cool, that sounds like damage control. But then he made a move that had people raising eyebrows. He mentioned where he was staying, Hawaii, and said something along the lines of, "If anybody got a problem with what I said, come to Hawaii and say it to my face." That's what people in the streets call dropping the location. And in today's internet era, that's risky, because once you put your whereabouts out publicly, you lose control of who sees it. What made it even more ironic? In that same video, YoungBoy's music was playing in the background. Think about that. You're explaining yourself after tension with a rapper while playing his song. That's mixed signals. That's throwing shade and showing respect in the same breath. And that contradiction is exactly why the internet can't stop talking about it. That was some seriously mixed energy. He tried to clean it up, saying, "I don't have nothing against YoungBoy. He's a talented rapper. And his son? I treated him like one of my own grandkids when he was around." But by that point, the words were already out there. Once you speak publicly on NBA YoungBoy, especially when emotions are already high, you can't rewind that. The internet doesn't forget, and neither do the streets. And here's the reality. YoungBoy isn't just another rapper talking reckless online. His name carries weight beyond music. When people mention him, it's not just about charts, it's about reputation. He doesn't move alone either. There's a whole circle behind him. The 4KT movement isn't loud on social media, but their presence gets talked about. Loyalty in that camp runs deep. These aren't random industry friends. These are long-standing ties. YoungBoy's reputation wasn't built off punchlines. It came from real-life experiences. Legal issues, weapons charges, street conflicts. His history goes back to his teenage years, long before platinum plaques. So when an older man steps into that mix publicly and then casually drops his location afterward, it raised eyebrows. It suggested he might not fully grasp the energy he was stepping into. Because YoungBoy has influence. If he says move, people pay attention. That's just the reality of having money, reach, and connections across states. He's not the struggling kid from Baton Rouge anymore. He's wealthy, powerful, and globally known. But let's zoom out for a second. This situation isn't just about tweets or bruised egos. It's about respect, family, territory. From YoungBoy's perspective, Dejounte Murray didn't just enter a new relationship. He stepped into a space that used to be his first love, his child, his history. So when Murray's father publicly questioned YoungBoy's mindset, that likely felt like layered disrespect. Not just romantic, personal. And in certain cultures, public embarrassment hits harder than private words. Now here's the wild part. Dejounte himself might not even realize how complicated this looks from the outside. He's playing ball, building his career, supporting Jania Meshell, helping raise her child. From his lens, that's stability and growth. But once his father stepped into the conversation, it unintentionally pulled the entire family into the spotlight. Because when you're connected to someone with YoungBoy's background and influence, everything and everyone around you becomes visible. From Dejounte's point of view, he may simply see himself as helping a woman rebuild after a toxic chapter, providing peace, providing security. But the streets don't evaluate intentions the same way. They measure respect. And from YoungBoy's side, it may feel like multiple layers were crossed. His relationship, his pride, and now his name being questioned publicly. That's why this isn't just an online argument. It's ego, power, loyalty, image, all colliding at once. First, Jania moved on and built a new life. Then her new partner's father decided to speak on YoungBoy like he knew him personally. In YoungBoy's world, that type of public commentary doesn't just slide. People outside that lifestyle may not understand it, but for someone like him, respect outweighs fame and money. It's currency. And once someone appears to play with your name in front of millions, especially critics and rivals, it feels bigger than advice. From YoungBoy's angle, Murray's father didn't just offer guidance. It may have felt like an attempt to frame him as unstable, emotional, out of control. And that cuts deep for someone who built his brand on being solid, fearless, and unshakable. The timing made it worse. YoungBoy was already clearly emotional about Jania moving forward with Dejounte. Then comes the father talking about therapy and mindset. To some, that's concern. To YoungBoy, that might not have sounded like advice at all.
That right there, that was like pouring salt straight into an open wound. You could literally feel the pressure building with every tweet, every post, like something bigger was about to explode. And now this situation isn't just messy online chatter. It's turned into something that could actually affect real families. Now Dejounte Murray has to think about his loved one's safety because his dad stepped into grown man business that wasn't his to handle. That kind of tension can shake your peace, your focus, even your career, and that's not small. And let's not forget Jania Meshell. She probably thought she left all that toxic chaos behind when she moved on from NBA YoungBoy, but somehow the storm circled back into a new life. Imagine trying to protect your peace, your kids, and your relationship, while the internet turns everything into a full-blown circus. That's exhausting. And the real heartbreak? The kids. YoungBoy and Jania's children didn't ask for any of this. They don't deserve their world getting flipped upside down over something that started on Twitter. That's always the saddest part. Grown folks let pride take over, and the innocent ones end up caught in the middle. This whole mess proves one thing. Regular people should never insert themselves into hip-hop tension, even if they think they're just speaking from the heart. Dejounte Murray's father probably believed he was keeping it real. Maybe he thought he was offering fatherly wisdom to a young man dealing with pain, but he seriously underestimated the arena he stepped into.
Because when you speak on someone who comes from the streets, especially someone like YoungBoy, you're not just talking about a rapper, you're speaking on a whole movement. And once that kind of energy gets stirred up, it's almost impossible to control where it spreads or who it hits. The streets operate by a completely different rulebook. What sounds like harmless commentary to everyday folks can feel like a direct threat to someone who lives by a code. In YB's world, words aren't light, they carry weight, and one wrong sentence can flip the entire situation upside down. Dejounte Murray's father didn't just give questionable advice, he stepped into street territory without realizing it. And that's where things can turn dangerous real quick. This wasn't just a misunderstanding, it's about knowing your lane. Street politics come with power, loyalty, and unspoken rules outsiders don't always see. The older generation might think it's just conversation, but some people don't play about their name or their pride. Here's the real lesson. When you get close to someone with a complicated past, their baggage can easily become yours. Dejounte Murray likely believed he was helping a woman and her kids build a better life. That's honorable. But now, because of a few careless words from his father, his entire family is wrapped up in tension that's much bigger than them. And the chilling part? YoungBoy's response didn't feel like empty internet talk. When he said, "You'll get slapped the fuck out," that carried weight. His 4KT crew doesn't need much encouragement to move, and now there's talk of a location being mentioned.
That combination, that makes even strong people uneasy. Now Dejounte's family has to move differently because one comment brought street heat right to their doorstep, all over something that never needed to be said publicly. It's wild how fast things spiral when pride and reputation get involved. His father probably believed he was doing the right thing, sharing wisdom, trying to cool things down. But in street culture, intentions don't hold much value. Once the words are out there, the energy is already in motion, and you can't rewind that. That's the harsh truth. When you speak on a man like YoungBoy, you're not just addressing a celebrity. You're addressing someone whose respect is guarded by people ready to act on it. In that world, respect is everything. Once that line gets crossed, talk doesn't fix it, only actions do. And when Dejounte Murray's father went online trying to psychoanalyze YoungBoy, suggesting he needed therapy, that wasn't received as gentle advice. It landed as disrespect. That right there, that wasn't taken as advice. It was taken as straight disrespect. Now the real question everybody's asking is this: how far is NBA YoungBoy willing to take it? Because we're talking about someone who has never been known to back down from anybody. From YB's perspective, it probably feels like he's being low-key played by his baby mama's new man and his family. And that combination? Dangerous. Disrespect like that doesn't just disappear overnight, not when pride is involved. Dejounte Murray's dad better hope YB decides to let this one slide, because if the 4KT crew ever decides to touch down in Hawaii, trust me, it won't be for vacation photos. They don't travel for fun. They move with intention. And the streets, they have long memories. They don't forget, and they definitely don't forgive. Once something hits the internet, it lives there forever. Pride keeps the tension simmering. Honestly, YB going silent would be the only real sign that things are cooling off. But here's the twist. When he goes quiet, that's usually when people start getting uneasy. And this whole situation brings up a bigger conversation. How far can celebrity beef really go in 2026? Social media has turned private tension into public warfare. Mix fame, ego, and real street ties together, and things can escalate fast. What used to stay behind closed doors now gets broadcast to millions in seconds. And the consequences, they get real quick. If Dejounte's father is smart, he'll fall back, log off, and pray this whole situation fades quietly. Because when it comes to YB, one careless sentence can turn online drama into something you can't rewind.